Hello, everyone. So today I want you to really think about something that you are grateful for. So I am grateful that I get to be on this call with you all today. And what we're going to talk about today is embracing imperfection. So we really want to learn that we don't have to be perfect all the time. Sometimes this is a hard thing for people to give up. And we want to make sure that we're not holding ourselves to a standard that is not attainable and that we'll never get to. So it is okay to not be perfect all the time. So we're going to go through that today and see how that makes you feel. And I encourage you to grab a piece of paper or type up a note on your computer because we'll be going through and journaling kind of throughout this as well. Hello, Sherry. Do you want to type something you're grateful for?
Hello.
Hello, is there anything that you'd like to share that you're grateful for?
Oh, thanks. I yeah, I'm for this time at home.
Yeah, that's a good one,
Mhm.
right? 'Cause you're always traveling and always all over the place. So you
Yeah.
get some time, some downtime, right? It's good to take,
Let's call it that, yes.
yeah, it's good to take a few minutes and give yourself permission to take a break too.
I
We're
have a lot of gratitude for being in my home and appreciating my home.
Yay, I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thank
Awesome.
you.
All right, well, we will get started here. Oopsies. All right, so progress over perfection. So this is key. A lot of you have realized this throughout the reset too. Like you are not going to be perfect 100% of the time. That is an unrealistic expectation. So we just want to keep making progress forward. So maybe that's one thing at a time, one change at a time. You know, if you're cheating all day, every day, let's, cheat one time a day. So just making sure you're making that progress over perfection. So this is an interesting quote. So there's an eagle in me that wants to soar, and there's a hippopotamus in me that wants to wallow in the mud. So this can kind of teeter-totter back or forth depending on how you are feeling that day. So this is like an inner tug of war that we might feel throughout the day or maybe throughout the week. So it is relatable, right? So sometimes we're feeling on cloud nine. Sometimes we just want to sit in our pajamas and do nothing. So the ego kind of represents our higher self. So that's the part of us that's ambitious, that's driven, inspired, wants to rise above. And the hippopotamus stands for the part of us that wants to stay in that comfort zone, stay in routine, stay in the familiar place, even if it's messy and not serving you. So I want you to ask yourself, which one has been in control for you lately? Has it been the eagle or has it been the hippopotamus? So what is keeping you in those places, either vice versa. So it's natural to have this inner conflict. And this is why we're trying to make those lasting changes and change that mindset, of our health and our habits. So let's look at how we can better understand so the ego can lead us more often. So self-compassion, resiliency. So building resiliency starts with how we treat ourselves. So these 5 steps are foundational tools that we're going to look at for developing self-compassion and emotional strength. So number 1 is see yourself. So you want to start with self-awareness. So this means acknowledging your strengths and also being honest about, flaws or your weaknesses. So I want you to think, what makes me unique? And what triggers me, and how do I respond to stress and success? So we'll just take a couple minutes here. I can keep the music going in the background while we go through this too. So what makes me unique? So just jot down the first few things that come to your mind. I'm gonna get myself a piece of paper here too. And then what triggers me? And how do I respond to stress and success? So number 2, and we will go through a little bit more in detail of each of these ones as well. So number 2 is care for yourself. So self-care is more than just taking a bubble bath. It's also treating yourself with the same kindness you'd offer a friend. So if you're not kind to yourself and you're super hard on yourself all the time, that's not serving you. So if you're going to help someone else and you're going to lift them up, I want you to think of doing the same for your own self. So number 3 is forgive yourself. So are you holding yourself to impossible standards? This is an area where people really struggle, and it might be with food, it might be with your job, it might be with your house. Like there's some people that can't leave the house without doing their dishes. I was one of them. So you have to learn to forgive yourself and let some things go so you can truly enjoy life, because not forgiving yourself is actually where a lot of anxiety and depression comes from, because we start measuring our worth by perfection, right? Which is usually an unattainable standard. And forgiveness is truly free. So you want to recognize that you are at a different place in life than someone else. So don't compare yourself to everyone else. You might be, I posted about this the other day, you might be in chapter 2 and they're in chapter 10, right? So don't compare your chapter 2 to their chapter 10. That's not even the same thing. That's apples and oranges, right? So be okay with not being perfect, because you just want to free that and give yourself grace, right? Don't compare. So number 4 is laugh at yourself. So this doesn't mean putting yourself down. It means being okay with not being perfect. If you make a mistake, laugh about it, move on. Usually you're more relatable with people if you can joke about it versus just being super hard on yourself about it. Don't take life so seriously. It's too short. Number 5, believe in yourself. So this is the result of doing the first 4 steps. So when you see yourself, you care for yourself, you forgive yourself, and you laugh at yourself, you're really creating that strong foundation for you and for what you believe. So the quality of our life is determined by the quality of our relationships. So that might hit hard, right? Do you have people around you that you have a good relationship with? Are you in a bubble and you don't talk to anyone? So just kind of marinate on that and see where that hits for you, because maybe you need to forgive some people. Maybe you need to forgive yourself. And you're going to find that everyone is a little bit different. We are not meant to be all the same. We all have different personalities. So some ways that you can help understand other people's personalities is looking at a couple of these models that we're going to go through. And it helps us not only understand ourselves better, but it helps us understand people we work with, our loved ones, our spouses, our kids. So the DISC score is a really good one to take. If you haven't heard of it, you can just type it in Google, free DISC score, and you'll get your own. So personally for me, I'm a D, I'm a dominant. So I'm in that more of a leadership role, and I can come off as being hard and I'm more blunt, where someone who is more of an S might be a little bit more quiet, reserved. They don't like any conflict. They want to have, that community and cooperation and teamwork. So a D, we'll start with the D. So they're usually results driven. They like challenges. They like control. They like to make quick decisions. I just see that my whole face, oh, there we go. My internet must have cut out there for a second. So the D's are results driven. They like challenges, control, and making quick decisions. So you'll often hear them say, like, let's go do this, let's make this happen. And they're going to value trust before they'll truly like or connect with someone. So they like winning, future planning, results, and they might come across as intense or impatient. So the I is inspiring. So these are the energetic people. They bring fun, creativity, excitement. They're kind of fly by the seat of their pants, but they're happy and they're always giving everyone hugs and they're just super upbeat and energetic. They usually talk really fast. They like being in the spotlight and they thrive on that recognition. So with them, they like you before they trust you. So they need to connect with you first. And that's where they like that recognition and being liked and fun. So they might struggle with follow through or focus. So S is supportive. So supportive types are usually steady, they're dependable, they thrive in harmonious environments. So these are people that are really good secretaries. Like they're just very steady and in routine. So they might talk softly, they might move thoughtfully, they don't like conflict, and relationships are hard to them, and they have a hard time saying no to anyone because they want that harmony. So number C is cautious. So these are their perfectionists. They like accuracy, structure, rules. They really like knowing all of the details. They value being right, and they want to know exactly what's expected of them. And like the D types, they trust you before they like you. So they like clarity, precision, completing tasks, and they might appear cold or overly critical. So you're going to see on the top, people are more outgoing. On the bottom, people are more reserved. And then horizontally, people are more task oriented. And on the right, people are more people oriented. Like they just care about people and don't do much about the tasks. So no style is better than the other. It's just understanding how to communicate with people in each of these categories is key to be able to have a better relationship too. So another one that you can take into account is the 5 love languages. So this can help us deeper connect with others, whether it's your marriage, whether it's your kids, your friends, coworkers. So everyone gives and receives loves differently. So the first one is touch. So this language speaks through physical presence and touch. So this could be holding hands, a hug, a pat on the back. People with this love language feel most loved when they experience physical affection. And once again, this is another free test that you can take online just to see what love language you are. And it is interesting if you're married to have you and your spouse do it and kind of compare and see. That helps you better your marriage too when they know what your love language is. Number 2 is service. So actions speak louder than words. So this might be, they value you doing the dishes, helping take out the garbage, running errands. And those are ways that they can say, I love you. So words, some people thrive on verbal expression. So this could be a compliment, an affirmation, encouragement. Kind words might build them up, while criticism really tears them down. Then there's time. So quality time means undivided attention. So this is, they value you putting your phone down, being present in the moment. So it's not about the quantity, but the quality of the time. And then gifts. So this isn't about materialism. It's about thoughtfulness, and effort. So a meaningful gift shows I was thinking of you, even if it's small. This could be something as, buying some flowers, leaving a sticky note on the door saying, I love you. Just those little things that they know that you're thinking of them. So this can help transform relationships around you too. So life brings a lot of noise. Don't wait for absence to value presence. And this one really hits home for me today because today was the day that my husband's best friend died. And you don't know how short life is, right? So you don't know when the end of your life is going to be. So really value your presence now and those around you. So we can set some goals now. So we want to look at things that you want to change, who you want to become in the process. So success doesn't happen in one big leap. So I want you to remember it's those small steps over time. So I want you to ask yourself each morning, what can I do to move 1% closer to your goal? So we want to establish a goal for you to give you something to aim for. Maybe this is something weight related. Maybe this is establishing a better relationship with your spouse. Maybe this is, improving getting to a higher work performance or getting X amount of calls a month. Whatever this might be for you specifically, I want you to think of a goal. So one of my goals right now is I'm actually working on creating a Facebook community for anyone and everyone, because there's not a lot of places where people can freely talk about, natural health, parasites. If you don't know where to go and have that guidance, that's what I'm building right now. So I will invite you all to it once I have it ready, and then you can ask questions in there as well. So imagine your outcome. So visualization is powerful. So if you can't picture it, it's hard to pursue it. So I want you to think of this. as a kid, you probably drew your dream house, or you sat in a cardboard box and drew rooms, and you visualized it and you made it real. You had that imagination. So if you visualize yourself, on a house on a beach or a house up in the mountains or wherever it might be, I want you to actually close your eyes and visualize it, because this helps your brain and your body align, right? So we need that clear picture, and you need to know what that success looks like for you. And this might change over time, and that's okay. But if you don't visualize it, you're never going to get it. So right now, just kind of think of your visualization, draw it out, write it down, and then you can visualize it after as well. It's funny, this song comes on. Can you hear the music? Okay. So it's about not quitting your daydream and like going after your dreams. So that's actually really entertaining. All right. So the most powerful stories in our lives aren't the ones told about us, but the ones we tell ourselves. So what stories do you tell yourself that are holding you back? So we all have an inner narrative, right? Sometimes it sounds like I'm not good enough. I always mess things up. I'm always late. I can't do this. These are stories that often form in childhood. This might have been during failure, after a trauma, and they can shape how we see ourselves throughout adulthood. So this might be something that happened to you when you were 4 years old, but that just got ingrained in your brain and you never rewired your brain to get out of that pathway. So what stories do you tell yourself that you're holding back? So you have to become aware of those stories in order to change them, because you can't change what you're not aware of. If you don't know what that is, ask your spouse, ask someone around you, ask your best friend. They're going to be able to tell you what's holding you back. So you can think about too, what's a limiting belief you've recently caught yourself thinking? That can be another way to kind of trigger that response. And the beauty is now you get to rewrite the script. So I want you to take whatever you wrote down and we want to flip it positive. So if it's I failed, shift it to I learned, right? You had to have learned something from a failure that you've been through. Maybe if you're concerned about being behind, shift it to I'm exactly where I need to be in order to grow. So we want to reframe it into the positive, to choose to view through life in a positive way, because the stories you tell yourself either hold you back or they move you forward. So you want to choose those stories that lift you up and move you forward. So I want you to just take a minute and reframe those into a positive. So happiness. Happiness isn't just a nice feeling. It's actually your foundation for health and longevity. Happy people usually have a much better health. They have a more positive outlook on life. They're grateful. And people who feel good about themselves are more likely to implement healthy actions and live longer and healthier lives. So we want to be able to love ourselves, because then we take better care of ourselves. It becomes easier to eat well, to move our bodies, to prioritize sleep when we are caring for ourselves. So it's not about that fake positivity. It's about making sure you have enough self-worth that leads to self-care. So research actually shows that people with a positive self-image are more resilient and make better long-term health decisions. So don't shame yourself. I want you to ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today that makes me feel genuinely good about myself? So one thing that you can do today that makes you feel good about yourself. So then celebration. Celebration is one of the most overlooked tools for building momentum and happiness. So we want to celebrate our daily wins because oftentimes we kind of forget those daily wins. Maybe this means you have a journal. This could be something as simple as, if you're going through the release phase, maybe you lost, 2 pounds. But don't forget all those non-scale wins too. Maybe you wake up energetic. Maybe your socks aren't swollen anymore around your ankles, or your ankles aren't swelling around your socks. Maybe you got off blood pressure medications. Maybe you have a better relationship with your boss, right? So we want to acknowledge what goes right in our life and not just look at what goes wrong. So it could even be you drank enough water today. You took time to go pee, okay? That's a big one for some people. They don't take time to pee. So celebration actually signals your brain of this is worth repeating, right? So if we're like, okay, I drank enough water today, your brain is eventually going to get to the point where it just becomes that habit versus something you have to do. So you can start or end your day with a quick win list. So no win is too small. You could just start a note in your phone and jot down things that you're grateful for and celebrate your daily wins, because you know what? We all have bad days. We can choose to be happy, and a way to flip into that happiness is open up that note and look at all the wins that you've had so far. So also give yourself credit for what you did. So we tend to minimize our progress thinking it's not enough. And I see this a lot. So people, around that 3-week mark in the release phase, maybe your weight plateaus for a few days. They're like, man, I'm not doing the right things. I'm not doing this good enough. I'm messing something up. What's going wrong? Everyone hits that plateau, right? And it's more of an emotional plateau, if you ask me. And you get over that hump, and then you continue to go down. So give yourself credit for, the 10 or 15 pounds you lost up until that point, right? Because what else have you done where you've lost that much weight in 3 weeks? So give yourself the credit and don't be afraid to celebrate that. And, we don't have to celebrate with food or with treats. You can celebrate by just being grateful for what you have achieved so far. So the more you celebrate your progress, the more progress you're going to want to make. So work smarter, not harder. So hard work's important, but smart work is sustainable long-term. So we want to find better ways for your health to make the most of your moments. So you don't need to overhaul your whole health overnight. So look for small shifts with big returns. So maybe this is prepping your meals once for the whole week, or turning a daily walk into quiet time. Maybe you don't take your headphones with you. Maybe you leave your phone at home and you go for a walk. One of the things that I've done is I actually stopped wearing my watch. So I don't wear a watch anymore. And that has helped me realize that I was looking at my watch a lot and concerned about time a lot, and it was stressing me out. I, knock on wood, haven't been late to anything yet. I still have my clock on the wall, but when I'm outside, I don't know what time it is. I look at the sun. So we can disconnect from all that chaos, and Spotify is funny. The music it just put on, oh my goodness. So disconnect from all that chaos and the stress and the overwhelm. So there might be things that are stressing out your nervous system that you don't even realize. So if you want to be successful, you must make choices. So busyness is not the same as productivity. So I know that if there's something that I don't want to do, I will find everything under the sun that I have to do because I don't want to do that thing over there, right? It is easier to just tackle those hard tasks first get it out of your way, and you have the rest of your day to do whatever else you have to do. So make sure you're not engaging in a bunch of distractions, because that's going to distract you from your goal too. So this includes, making sure you're choosing to get sleep, setting boundaries that you have to set, and choosing silence over chaos. Don't participate in the chaos. It's okay to take that step back and leave the chaos over there. So apply learning to get 1% better every day. So the happiest people aren't perfect. They're curious. So they're always learning, testing, and improving. So making sure that you have that balance of learning enough to stay healthy, but not using learning as a distraction. And that was actually one thing I found in myself as I was taking all these courses, going to all these trainings, doing all these things, right? Well, where's the implementation piece? It's not there, right? So there is such thing as using learning as a distraction too. So find that balance there. So you can ask yourself, what's one smarter step I can take today for my health or productivity? For me, the first thing that comes to mind is doing my daily devotional again in the morning. I got away from that because life got busy. And I know that every time I do prioritize that, I magically get more time in the day. So find out what that magical thing is for you that calms your nervous system down, because the more calm we are, the more productive we're going to be too. So having a creative versus competitive mind. So we live in a world that constantly pushes us to compare, but the real power lies in creating your own path and not racing someone else's. So I find this a lot in my daughter. Sometimes she'll watch a show and she'll start acting like the characters in the show. And I'm like, hold up, like, are you Addie or are you this character in the show? So there can be a lot of influences in your life where you might find that you're just trying to be like someone else instead of finding your own path and being you, who you were created to be. So the desire in you to create your own health is the proof that you have the power to do it. So if the desire is in you, it's there for a reason. So it means the capability already exists within you. So you don't have to wait for perfect conditions or permission. Your journey to your own health can start better right now. So in your own way, maybe this means that you want to exercise 5 days a week, right? So what's stopping you? What's holding you back from that goal? What's the story you're telling yourself? So you can create some affirmations. So if I feel the pull, I already have the power. So if you already feel like you are supposed to be doing something, that is your subconscious saying, go do this, right? That might be God guiding you, go do this, right? So you have that power within you to achieve that goal. So you're already in competition with yourself yesterday, no one else. So this is where the mindset shift happens from being competitive to creative. So instead of asking, am I doing better than that person? Ask, am I doing better than I did yesterday? So as long as you are doing better than you did yesterday, you're doing better, right? Because progress is personal. Don't compare yourself, your chapter 2 to their chapter 10. So remember, celebrate those little steps, because you're not here to outperform everyone else. You're here to outgrow yesterday's version of you and to create a better version of you today. So conscious competency. So this is where things start to click together. So you're not just learning, you're becoming. So at first, you might not even realize what's holding you back. That's called unconscious incompetence. Then you learn better ways and you start practicing them. That's conscious learning. Now you're entering the phase where you're aware, you're good at it, and you know what works for you, and you do it on purpose. Sometimes to reach this level, you might need those around you to hold you accountable. So if there is a habit you're trying to break, ask your spouse to help you. Ask them to call you out when you're doing those things, because you might not even realize that you're doing them. So you can't unknow once you know. This is a powerful moment in growth, and that's when your awareness shifts, because you now know how to tune into your body, how to recognize what supports your energy, and how to respond instead of just reacting. So that kind of knowing changes you, and there's no going back once you've leveled up. So you're gaining that conscious competency, and confidence follows, and so does consistency. So grit isn't just about toughness, it's about staying committed even when things don't go perfectly. So this acronym kind of breaks it down into actionable steps. So G is growth. So growth begins when we step outside our comfort zone. So even when it's hard, we stretch ourselves because that's where transformation lives. So I want you to think, what area of your life right now is asking you to grow? So what area of your life is asking you to grow? And then rebound. So resilience is what allows us to bounce back when we fail. So we're all going to hit a wall. We're all going to hit that roadblock. And what matters is how quickly we rebound or get through that roadblock. Because failure isn't the end, it's usually feedback for how we can do something better. So I is improve. So every setback gives us insight. So we improve not by avoiding mistakes, but by learning from them and doing it better the next time. So you can always ask yourself, what did this teach me? What can I do differently next time? T, try again. So grit means we don't quit. We reset, we regroup, and we re-engage. So success is often on the other side of one more try. So an affirmation that you can link with that is, I haven't failed. I just found another way that didn't work yet. Right? So sometimes, how many times did it take to get a light bulb? Right? Like, how many times did you try to make a light bulb? It wasn't like 1,000 times or something. It was crazy. So success is often just one more try away. So don't give up on yourself and understand that not everything goes perfectly the first time around, and that's okay. So grit's how we move forward when that motivation runs out. And it's a choice. You're taking that choice to keep going with growth, to keep going with resilience, and to have purpose towards your goals.